Taking longer. We're live with Josh Elledge. Josh is, fractional CRO. He's a client attraction authority. He's the host of the Thoughtful Entrepreneur, more than 2K interviews that he did. So quite experienced. He's a columnist, a TV speaker, and has a bunch of media appearances. So yeah, B2B growth strategist, has an upcoming podcast platforms that he may gonna announce today, and founder and CEO at UpMyInfluence. So Josh, I'm glad to have you on here. Tell us a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Sure, Charles. Yeah, so I've been in the media somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 times. My background is in journalism. I was a journalist in the United States Navy for 5 years, and had the opportunity to learn from Adrian Cronauer, who Robin Williams portrayed in Good Morning Vietnam, and really that's how I've leveraged stages to grow now multiple companies that have done pretty well. And so what we do with UpMyInfluence, like I said, I've built 7-figure companies with 0 paid ads just using the media. Well, at UpMyInfluence, that's essentially what we do is we help our clients who are otherwise doing okay in business. Usually they're at that 6 and 7 figure territory. I facilitate an endless number of introductions, and we do so through our network of podcasts. We've launched over 250 different client podcasts, and we help them to become household names in their networks, in their respective industries, while we get them in the room week after week after week with their ideal partners, influencers, investors, and a lot of client introductions. So we can get more into that and kind of exactly how that works. But what I just want to sum up and say is, listen, to our friend that's listening, if you are not actively involved in leveraging podcasting, you're missing a boat, because there's an enormous number of high-level leaders that are both hosting shows and guesting on shows, and they serve audiences together, and then they go in the green room and they end up doing a bunch of business together. And so if you want to kind of like up the caliber of who you're associating with, I'd highly recommend you get on one or both sides of the coin as soon as possible, because it's a whole lot better than all the yucky, scammy, nasty, yucky lead gen kind of garbage that other people do, hitting up DMs, using AI to spam people. It's gross. It's kind of not very classy, and it's not fun to do. So hopefully we'll talk about a way that you can, again, engage in business and sales development without having to do stuff that is not fun.
Right. I think good cold email still works, right? If it's like AI personalized, and if it's relevant, if it's value adding, that still works. But
to whom does it work?
CEOs, founders. I mean, I run a company.
If you sell it, then of course I would imagine you would agree with that.
Yeah, but for my clients as well, I have a roster of around 20 clients, and yeah, if you do it well, it works, right?
I'm not going to argue with you about that. All I know is that if I get spam email, and maybe our friend that's listening right now, how do you deal with spam? Like, do you like getting spam? Do you like getting cold, unsolicited email? And if it's a yes, then all systems go. Keep spamming. There's some fireworks for you. If you don't like receiving spam, then it's kind of the golden rule kind of stuff, right? It's like, don't do to other people what you don't want done to you. If you like getting spam, go ahead and spam away.
Right. But good cold emails aren't spam. They're just like personalized to the person that you send it to, and it's relevant, right? So you curate the list with AI, for example. So yeah, I guess 90% of emails nowadays, they are spam, which is why you're saying that. But the best of us, we do it in a good way. And that's also how I reach out to you, right?
Not my area of expertise. All I can say is my own lived experience. I hate spam. Don't spam me. Yeah. And in fact, what I'll tell you is that and I'm pretty small potatoes in business, right? So, but to spam or to try to cold solicit me, good luck with that. Because I've got one personal email account that I maybe check once a day. Other than that, all my email is managed by people on my team. And the one personal account that I do have, like, I have such an aggressive mail program that none of that stuff, if it's someone that I don't have an existing relationship with, it's not getting through. Period. And my team knows that if it's unsolicited and I don't know who that person is, it's not getting through either. Same thing with LinkedIn DMs. I don't look at that stuff. And so trend wise, LinkedIn Sales Navigator used to be amazing. It's not anymore. And the tools are better. I agree. The tools are amazing, but everyone's got access to the same tools. So we're naturally headed to the dead internet theory, right? Where it's just going to be bots talking with bots. So that's kind of the future of that. And so what I'm suggesting is, like I said, if you got to lock down and you're a cold marketing wizard on email, I don't know anything about it. All I know is that I don't love it. So don't do it to me. Keep me off the list.
Well, you converted on my cold email for sure. Do you convert on ads as well? Like how
converted on Michael? What's Michael's email?
No, my cold email.
To be a guest on your podcast?
On this podcast.
Yes, because I have a mandate to do that, right? And so that's one of the big delineators, right? So if it's something that I have a mandate to do, then my team is going to pass that along. So as someone who speaks on stages and speaks on podcasts, yes, I do that activity all along. Sales call? No. I don't do those. I have no mandate to get on sales calls. So I want to make sure that when we're talking about cold email, what's relevant? Yes. If someone messages me and says, we would love for you to be a speaker at our next event, yeah, that's going to work for me.
Right. Yeah. For me as well, I would take a sales call if it's useful and if it's going to be a demo/discovery call. If I want to learn more about X application, right? So some cold emails are good, but most is trash. Yeah, I don't think the solution is necessarily to stop emailing people. I think the solution is just like better AI spam filters, which is what we're getting right now. So all the junk is getting in your junk. But do you convert on ads?
It may be so. I consider it to be a race to the bottom.
I think eventually also the means of communicating will change. But for example, on my end, I don't use Google, right? I use ChatGPT. I don't convert on ads either. Like you see all these ads on LinkedIn. So I think it's like a different generational thing. Obviously, if you have team members taking your emails, that's a different mentality. But what are your thoughts on podcasts? Why do you think that these are the better way to get people's attention and increase your authority to convert more clients?
Yeah, because what you're getting is so as a speaker, so I've spoken for the Tony Robbins organization, spoke for Social Media Marketing World a number of years, spoken at all the marketing conferences, podcasting conferences. And I can tell you that I do some okay business from the stage. Where I do my best business is quietly in the green room, right? It's not the, people that are, low key selling on Facebook. I mean, it's just weird and awkward to do that. It doesn't feel really great, to feel this intense pressure, like you have to do TikTok dances to drum up business. That doesn't feel fun to me. I don't enjoy that. I don't want to be, at this level in my business, I don't want to have to do that kind of level work. So I go where leaders go. And so I end up then networking with where other high-level leaders are spending their time. So if they're spending their time evangelizing and serving audiences from stages, then I want to hang out with that crowd, not the people all kind of just selling at each other on Facebook or something like that. Right. And the same thing with, and by the way, I just want to say this, I don't want you to feel badly, like, if email marketing is your game and you've got it locked down, that's great. It's not your fault that email marketing sucks today. It's the fault of all of the amateurs and the spammy people that have ruined it. So aggressive marketers started off with aggressive tactics, cheap labor, then tools, now AI. The tools get better, but it's the same problem that lazy marketers just ruin it. And so because of that, LinkedIn's just not as good as an outreach tool as it used to be in the past. So in the podcasting world, when you are, let's say you're speaking, it's no different than, someone who's just very actively speaking at conferences and you're networking and hanging out with people at that caliber. So let's say, for example, you're going to an event and you're going to be part of a panel and you're speaking to an audience. That's good visibility, right? Are you going to get some business from it? Maybe. All right. But what you will get almost certainly is some sort of connection with those other speakers that you're serving with, right? So if we're in service to an audience and then afterwards, after the whole thing, like you get to know the moderator a little bit, the events planner a little bit, like you just get behind the scenes. But then if someone else on the panel, like we're each in service to an audience, and then afterwards, if that person leaned over to me and said, "Hey, Josh, I really liked what you had to share there. Hey, let's grab some time, like coffee or whatever. Let's see if there's something we should be doing together." I would likely say yes, because we've gotten to know each other. So when you are engaged in this sort of activity, everyone's kind of slowed down a little bit. We've kind of separated ourselves from a lot of the noise that's out there. And now we're quietly spending time together, learning about each other. And then this is just how leaders do business, right? Is that they do it quietly on the golf course, in the VIP lounge and in quiet conversations, right? It's usually not done like high-level leaders. Like if engagement for you is going to be a 5-figure and beyond type thing, those type of people do not sit through webinars. Those type of people do not read a whole lot of white papers. They don't want to go through marketing systems. They certainly don't want to jump on sales calls, right? And so for those types of people, you're just going to have to lead with a little bit more of a go-giver approach. And so Bob Berg, who wrote the book The Go-Giver, is I think has one of the most brilliant strategies for what works well today. And that is that you must lead with noble intent. Like you have to put other people's needs first. It has to be less about what it is that you want, because we can all sniff it a mile away, right? And nobody likes being sold at or sold to. We like doing business with our friends. We like doing business with people with whom we've built a relationship with, but no one likes being a piece of meat or being treated like a lead, right? And so, we generally don't like that. So we offer a different type of approach. So essentially, when we build a podcast, we use that podcast now to serve our clients' industries. And as a result, now they have this journalist badge, and it allows them to earn time with other people. So you can look at someone else in the industry and say, "Listen, I've got a podcast. I'd love to honor and celebrate you, right? I'd love to share your story." You truly do that work for them because, again, you have noble intent and you lead with generosity. Guess what you're going to earn? You're going to earn a relationship with that person. And if that's a high value person, like who has connections, or maybe there's the opportunity to do business with, it's a very, very small investment to earn that friendship together. And who knows where it will go? All I can tell you is I think that if most of us who have been in business for any length of time, look at some of the big pivotal moments in our business, usually it was because we met somebody, right? And so I would then argue, well, you should do a lot more work to meet those somebodies.
Yeah, I very much preach that. I think let's just not confuse the means with the ends, right? Like I think cold email is still the best way to get people on podcasts. And I also think that it's not because you cold email someone that you're going to treat them like a piece of meat, right? There's like people of my generation as well that don't like to show up to events because it's lots of time, right? Like hopping on a plane and so forth. And we also convert directly on efficiency. Like if I see that someone cold emails me, let's say with a top solution, and that's exactly what I need right now, I'm going to accept the call. I will vet them, of course. My AIs will vet them so that they don't like hard sell me on a phone call. I think that anyone that hard sells nowadays is living in like a 90s boiler room, right? Like that is not how sales is done. It's like value adding, it's win-win. And like it's just me, for example, I went to a Tony events probably 8 months ago and tried to sell me on things on stage, and I'm just immune to that, right? Like you said, so I think that the podcasting method is amazing, right? Like I created a company just for that 6 years ago. It's called podbuyer.com, just to talk with top CEOs. But a piece that I see missing most of the time is follow-ups, right? Like after the podcast, most people do the actual pods, but it doesn't convert to anything, right? So like maybe following them on LinkedIn, sharing content pieces, and just adding value to them so that this relationship actually becomes a work relationship, right? And when you trade money for energy, that's like trust at the next level. And then next thing you know, you're working with very smart people. And I think everyone should aim for that. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, yeah. So where we've kind of mastered this over the past 6 years, in terms of the podcast connection, is that here's the reality, right? So the typical experience of being a podcast guest is that you're going to do it. You're probably not going to get much of any action from that podcaster's audience. That's just a known fact. Most podcast audiences are pretty small, and podcast listeners tend to be pretty unresponsive, but we do it anyway, right? And the reason that we do it is because this is how you build your media brand. You keep doing it, and it has more to do. It like the value that you get from it, from publishing it, has more in common with like SEO, right? And so where do you get the most value from a guest? Well, two ways. Number one is it's what you do with that appearance, right? And so when you go out on shows and you're exposed to a new audience, these people are just getting to know you for the first time. They may or may not like you. Right. And that's not up to you to decide. It's up to you to just be who you are and let the perfect people kind of come and follow you on that. So there is some value to the audience. But what I do know is that the people that already do know you, right? People that are in your pipeline, people that you've had a conversation with, people that have been on your email list for whatever length of time or whatever, like they're already somewhere else in the relationship journey with you. So if you're a guest and you show up and you record an interview and then you say, okay, that's it, my job's done, man, you are missing easily 3/4 of the value that you can get. Like the appearance is maybe 25% of the value. And then I'm talking about the appearance to the podcaster's audience. What you do with it is where you get that other 75% of the value. So you take that, you repurpose it, you put it in your sales pipeline, you send it out to all of your email list, you make it, and you create that content in a way that's going to be exceptionally valuable with the audience that you already know very, very well, right? So you might have to kind of repackage some things or whatever, but if you'll do that, that's where you get a ton of value. So that's kind of guesting side of it, and like where you get the value from guesting, right? Hosting is a completely different animal, because when you host a show in podcast guesting, you should know that for every decent podcast that's been around for any length of time, there are thousands, if not tens of thousands of potential guests at any given time. That supply-demand gap has always been that way. And it has only gotten bigger, right? Because again, most podcasters don't stick with it because it's a little bit of a grind. But those ones who do stick with it, I mean, it's kind of like, it's kind of like ladies' night and you're looking really fine, if you know what I mean. Like there are thousands of guests who want to connect with you. Now, if you treat that ad hoc and you don't put a lot of thought into your systems and processes, you're probably going to suffer about that. Yeah, there's a lot of guests out there, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're not making money with this. You're not doing new business as a result of it, unless you set a ton of intention. And again, 250 some podcasts later, 5.5, 6 years of doing this, we've mapped out about every move on the chessboard in terms of creating a guest management system that A, both attracts the perfect people in the room, and then B, nurtures that relationship into somebody that wants to collaborate with you, not just treat you like a blind one-night stand date, which unfortunately, a lot of podcast guesting, that's kind of how it goes down.
Right. And what is the engine that you're building up next that you were telling me about before we started recording?
Yeah, Pod Verified is the only platform on the planet that we will give. I don't know when this goes live, we're live now, so it's not ready yet. But if you're on my email list, I've sent a couple of private invitations to see a beta in a couple of weeks. So what this is, it's the only platform on the planet that any guest can go and they can get their free authority score. It's going to tell you exactly how you look. Hey, you found a page. Oh yeah, if you go to podverified.com, this is the wrong page. Do not sign up on this page. I've got a different one. My team redirected it wrong. Don't sign up today because you can't. All right, please don't sign up today. This will be ready in a couple of weeks. We'll have a we'll have an RSV form, and then we'll have like a Founders Club thing there. So anyway, so what it will do is anyone can get their free score. And this is really important too. And PR people know this problem all too well. Guest comes in and says, hey, you're a PR firm or a podcast pitching firm. Can you get me on Joe Rogan? Like that's like, and stuff like that, or Mel Robbins or whatever, right? And then the PR person has to say, well, it's not really how it works here because you haven't done media at that level yet, but you can earn your way there. And then the guest does one of two things. They say, well, I'll just find somebody who tells me that they can, and then they get ripped off, or they pay a ton of money for a PR firm at that caliber. Okay, those are possible ways. But for the most part, no, you're wasting your time trying to spam all these big shows. They're not booking guests at your level. So you have to identify what are the shows that are appropriate for your level of authority and influence. And because the podcaster, they've got their own business, right? And they are not a transactional chess piece to help you make your dreams come true. They got their own dreams that they're coming true. So if you can help them get what they want, then you will more likely get what you need, right? So that's all a part of this system. So you come in, get your free authority score, then we match you with 2 perfect podcasts, and it's all free. And then we teach you how to actually outreach to podcasters in a non-spammy way. Quit spamming podcasters. I'll just tell you this, we hate it. I get dozens of bad pitches every single day. So I don't care how good your pitch is. It doesn't matter because podcasters are just inundated and they're overwhelmed with it. So it's just all noise to them. So you're going to have to do something a little bit different. And what we'll do and we teach you for free is basically like, here's how you connect on the socials. Here's how it's more omni-channel. I mean, Charles, you know all about this, right? It's just omni-channel relationship building. And then at some point in that relationship, usually about 3 weeks in, that's where it leads to a very kind of common sense, hey, just out of curiosity, I see that you're interviewing people at my level. I'd be honored if you could connect me with whoever manages your guests, if you have an application or whatever, and you can always say no, right? If you approach a podcaster as a fan first, and then after a few weeks of building a relationship with them, just a very genuine ask like that, it's probably going to lead to a placement. And, for us, when Pod Verified goes live, we're going to guarantee 4 matches, 4 placements every single month for like 1/4 the price of what a typical agency would charge you, because the way we do it just works better. You don't have to spray and pray, as they say.
Eager to see the launch, so please keep me posted on that. Where can people find out more about you till then, Josh?
Yeah, listen, a couple things, right? By the way, I know I'm an acquired taste. I'm not for everybody. But if some of what I've been saying is intriguing to you, a couple things. Number one is I'll teach you how to do all this stuff for free, right? I don't need your email address. I don't need you to opt in. You're an adult. Like if you want to come lurk on me or whatever, and just kind of creep on me and like find out what I do or whatever, it's fine. I'll never know you're there. Just go to my website. And that website is www.UpMyInfluence.com. UpMyInfluence.com. When you go to that site, 2 things. Number one is you can watch a free workshop, no email needed. And I'll kind of step you through like the business development or the sales development side of it, like why you might consider starting a podcast at some point, because it's way better than most traditional sales. Like if you don't like selling, I don't really love selling. But I love doing business with lots of friends. And so I'll kind of lay out exactly how to do that. And I'm also always looking for great podcast guests. I've done over 2,200 interviews on The Thoughtful Entrepreneur. Always, if you're doing okay in business, you're B2B, I'd love to have you as a guest. We have over 100,000 in social. I'd be absolutely honored to share your story with all of my audiences.
That was Josh